right, and we are live. Welcome everybody to episode 24 of the Hunger for the Hustle podcast, a place and a space where we dive deep into people's stories of struggles to success and really find out what drives their hunger for the hustle. My guest today is Lewis Sandoval, born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and now living in Jersey. He's been working in the AV industry for 8 years and is currently an AV senior support engineer at Twitter for 4 years. The great thing about Lewis, and I love this, Lewis says he is honestly doing what he loves to do and getting paid for it and doesn't even consider it work. His desire is to inspire and motivate others to pursue and accomplish their dreams so they can do what they love to do and get paid for it as well. Lewis, how are you today, sir?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing awesome. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here. And you know, you had me on your show a couple of weeks ago, and we're just paying back the favor here and loving that. We had a lot of fun on that show, didn't we? Which is, I believe it's going to be available soon, is it? Is that right?
Yes. Actually, right after this, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to just share it.
Well, how about that?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun there, and we dived into stuff, and it became evident to both of us that we just had to have you on here because you've got such a great story that we're going to dive into. But I think before that, I mean, let's tell the audience, or some people who might not know, what is AV, what is audio visual, and what does your role at Twitter involve day to day?
Sure. So audio visual is pretty much what you hear: audio, visual, anything that has to do with sound, speakers, microphones, visual presentations, video, cameras. So what I do at Twitter, I was going to say my old job, health first, oh my gosh. At Twitter, what I do at Twitter is basically, if anything breaks down, I'm like the break fix person. I go in there. Let's say, for example, you go into a room and all of a sudden you plug in your laptop and it's not showing up on the screen. I come in, I try to troubleshoot the issue, try and fix it. If the camera's not working, you're down to video call, and all of a sudden the camera, no image. I go in there, troubleshoot, unplug some wires, give it a reboot. Usually a reboot works on anything, just like a laptop. Just give it a quick reboot and it works. So that's one thing I do. Another thing I do is that I support events, company-wide events, global all hands, in-office meetings in the cafeteria could host about 400 or 500 people. We have, we stream it live to the other buildings, offices across the world. And so we have a production crew. Myself, I handle the sound. I have someone handling like the video production switch. I have somebody handling the presentation. So we all have our little roles there, and I pretty much lead that team, the event team, and just, delegate. And that's what pretty much I do for the most part. Yeah. And now what I'm doing now, because we're working from home, is pretty much just any new build outs. If we're going to upgrade any equipment, I coordinate that, with the team, reach out to the AV vendors, have them come on site to upgrade the audiovisual equipment in whichever office it is, whether it's New York City, whether it's San Francisco or Japan. I coordinate, the pretty much the upgrade of equipment globally.
Awesome, mate. And a huge company like Twitter, it takes a lot of moving parts to get these things happening, and you're obviously quite an integral part of that process for a lot of people. So has it changed a lot, your working life, now that you're having to do it from home?
Pretty much, yeah. It's not that much me. I'm the type of person that I love to provide a service for people. That's where I get my satisfaction from. If something's broken, I go in the room and I fix it. I say, oh, thank you. That's my satisfaction, that I was able to provide a service. Or even an event, if somebody needs, for example, I didn't mention this before, but if people need microphones, set them up with a microphone, or they need, a laptop to be presented onto the display, put that on. That's where I get my satisfaction from. But now working from home, and it's not as much work for me to do. What I'm working on more, like I said before, is just like working on future projects. Like, for example, in New York City, I recently worked with the AV vendor to have them upgrade the equipment in the New York City office. So that's how my role has changed, or now with this whole COVID working from home.
Yeah. So I guess it's given a little bit of downtime to focus on the things, the jobs that were backing up, right? Oh yeah, that project that we put down because we're too busy, we've now got a little bit of time to pick it up. Yeah. A bit of breathing space.
Exactly.
So I know this because we talked about this off camera, but when did you realize the particular moment, I know a story, what was the moment you realized that you wanted to be working in AV, that was your dream?
It's funny because in high school, right after high school, sometime, I guess I started working in the audiovisual department at my church. And that's how I got involved with AV, pretty much doing sound, adjusting the microphone for the worship team. If they need a microphone set up, going to retreats and setting up the projector and the screen and the audiovisual. And that was kind of like got me inspired. Well, I kind of like this. So I decided to, for some reason, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this completely, but one desire I did have was to start, like, maybe in the future, start my own Christian radio station. So I went to Kingsborough College in Brooklyn. For anybody from Brooklyn, Kingsborough College. And I took up radio broadcasting, and I took it for I got like maybe 30 credits or so, but I just stopped going. I guess it wasn't for me. I was trying different things, and that in the AV industry, that wasn't, I guess where I needed to go. That wasn't me. So I just stopped going. I changed my major to business administration. Why? I don't know, but maybe I wanted to have my own business. I don't know. So I did that, and after a while, I just stopped going. And as time went by, maybe like my mid to late 20s, I was doing, again, audiovisual in church, and I enjoyed it so much. And I was like, you know what? I can do this for a living. Why not do what I love to do and get paid for it? Why not? So I don't want to go too much into it, but that's when I found out that that's what I want to do for a living, which was work in the AV industry, setting up sound, doing something with AV. And I just felt it. I just had that desire in me.
Yeah. And then from there, did you go back to school, restudy, and get the qualification you needed? Or?
Actually, I did not go back to school. Before I made it into the AV industry, I was taking a course, like an online course, a certification. And but again, I didn't pretty much finish it. But I was in the process of doing it. And then in the process of me, taking that course, I ended up getting, the job in the AV industry. So.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So it's really, and I can relate to that. You can get taught to do, practical physical jobs, which it is, it's a technical job, your job, but you're dealing with things, actual technology, and that involves a lot of physical moving parts. And you can go to school, I did a full 4-year apprenticeship, and you can do it all, but you really learn that kind of stuff when you're actually doing it, when you're actually on site at the place of work. There's no training like that. And you can do it all in the classroom in theory, but then by the time you get to actually doing the work physically, it's completely different anyway, right? So
exactly. I got the job by experience. I didn't have no certifications or anything. It was just the experience I had. And to be honest, it was God's favor the way it happened, from like left to right. But I can explain that a little bit later if you want, but it's just the way it happened. It was amazing.
Yeah. No, I like how that came through to you. And one of my sayings is, and I like to inspire people to do it, to find their passion and turn it into their paycheck. And it's nice to speak to someone else who's done that and who's living that life now. Like, when you get up in the morning, are you someone who's like, yes, man, I got work? You look forward to Monday, right?
Yes, I do. I know some people like, oh my God, Sunday night, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. But me, Sunday night, I'm just like, I just can't wait to get to work. Like the total opposite. It's amazing. It's great to have that feeling, because when do you ever get, for years, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go to this job. I don't want to go. But now I'm just like, I can't wait to go to work the next morning. Now with COVID, it's different. But when I was in the office, I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. And good on you for finding that in your life, because I think it's a thing a lot of people aspire to. And how are you going to find it? Some people just stumble across it, like you. I know you told me that you were, even as a kid, you were accidentally kind of fixing AV stuff, right, that your uncle and your dad couldn't fix. And I can relate to that. I was used to run around thinking I was a builder when I was 3 or 4 years old. And then a lot of time between those younger moments in your little life passes, and you think, wow, actually, here I am living the dream. It's happened for me. Mm-hmm. And it can be a bit cliche, can't it? Living the dream, but if that's your reality, that's your reality, and no one can take that away from you. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
So along that journey, though, from going, you said you worked in AV in churches and that, and now you're at Twitter. You're really happy. You look forward to your Monday mornings. Were there many challenges that you faced along the way, and if you did, kind of what were they?
Well, for sure. I mean, I kind of mentioned it before, which was, I went to college. For a few years, it wasn't, like the avenue I was taking, or the major I was taking wasn't for me. I stopped going, and I just got a 9-to-5 job. I got a 9-to-5 job. First job right after that was what was it? We're driving artists to like from Def Jam Records. So I pretty much drove Beyonce to the airport. I had DMX. for like a whole day, Ja Rule. So I had different driving different entertainers and artists and singers around.
That's
so that
a
was
pretty cool job.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And the perks was pretty good too. So I ended up working in the healthcare industry. That's where I have 9-10 years of the healthcare industry. And it's funny because as much as I tried to apply for jobs in the AV industry, it was like, nope. And the jobs that there was maybe a little possibility of me getting into, it was like you had to work crazy hours. It was freelance. It was like on call. And I'm married. I can't just be like, all right, babe, I'm gonna stop my full-time job just to do this freelance job, and how the bills are gonna be paid. I'm the breadwinner in the house, so how the bills gonna be paid? So it's hard for me to stop working my full-time job to do freelance and not have income coming in. So I couldn't get those jobs or apply for those jobs because of the time, and we're recently married and we can't do that. So it was tough. It was tough. So years went by. I would apply for jobs and nothing. And then one day, this guy that I know from my church, he's like, look, I went on an interview. I didn't get the job, but go for it. Let's see what happens. I'm like, all right. So I called. I went in. They go, oh, come in for an interview. Okay, good. The guy who was like, all right, I see that you don't have any corporate experience, but let me see what I can do for you. And he's looking through his papers. All right, I can do this, preventative maintenance, but let me try and send you to an interview at a corporate job. And I'm like, okay, like he really wanted me to get a job, and let me rewind a little bit here. So I kind of fast forwarded real quick, but let me rewind a little bit. When one door is closed, when that door is closed, it's closed. Because for years I was trying to leave my job at the healthcare industry. I couldn't leave that job, no matter how much I tried, I couldn't leave it. There were so many layoffs, there was like 3 layoffs in the 10-year period that I was there. And I was spared those 10 years. And I was in a room, there was like maybe like 50 of us in the room, 75% of people left the room. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? This isn't good. And they went to another space, and then we find out that we were stable for job, and those got laid off. Those 75% of the people got laid off.
Wow.
So one door closed, and that's it. But when the time comes, when it's your time to go, then that door is going to open up, and you walk right in. And that's what happened. Finally, that one door opened up. They let me go for my job, and 4 months later, I ended up getting a job in the AV industry. So that's pretty much how it happened for me. I had some challenges along the way, but eventually I made it.
Yeah, you made it through, right? And it's interesting that you did a few courses. You said you did the business course, and look, trust me, I've done that. I'm great at starting things and sometimes not finishing them. Right? It's something I'm trying to work on. Well, I am working on.
Yes.
But I believe what you're calling is calling you, and that magnetic force for you was there in the background. It was getting stronger and stronger, and that's why you probably didn't finish the other courses, because you knew probably in your subconscious that your heart wasn't in it. It was a waste of your time, and that eventually you would get to where you really wanted to get to.
Exactly.
It's funny how the path comes together, isn't it? But it's like it was pulling you towards it. I know you're a great believer in that. What you're calling is calling you.
Yes. I mean, I take it back to like, even I was a youth pastor at once, and youth just kept on calling out to me. Just youth. How can I provide spiritual guidance? How can I mentor them? It was just always in my head, day, night, youth. What can I do for them? How can I serve them? How can I help them grow as a young person and not worry about fitting in and all this other stuff? It was just calling out to me. That's when I knew that I was called to be a youth pastor, or called to work with young people, because it calls out to you. As much as you try to push that thing away, like, it's not for me, or your doubts or your chatter or your fear, that thing just keeps on coming up and coming up and coming up. Like, perfect example for me, I know right now in my life, I'm called to be a speaker. I know, because it's just in me. It's there day and night. Like, I want to be a speaker. I want to inspire people. I want to motivate people. I want to help people get unstuck so they can live their lives to their fullest potential. That's my desire. It just calls out to me. So I know I'm called to do this. And I know one day, just like I knew that, why not get paid and do what I love to do? Why not do what you love to do and get paid for it? Same thing with speaking. Why not do what I love to do and speak and get paid for it? If I can do it, anybody else can do it.
Yes, I share that dream with you. That's part of the reason why I do these podcasts, because it gives me a great platform to speak on and to get to know people and explore people's stories of struggles to success. And of course, it gives my guests, you on this occasion, to let their voice be heard and their story, because people may forget what you say, they may forget what you do, but they'll never forget a good impactful story, and it's a perfect place to share them. And I think, in fact, I don't think, I know that you are a great speaker, and I believe that I'm going to be seeing you. I look forward to seeing you up on some stages soon. And I think you're perfectly placed. You know, the stage is virtual at the moment. It's going to be like that for a minute.
Yes.
You know, we don't know when it's going to change, but it will change. You know, I don't believe, people say things have changed forever. I don't quite believe that. I think that things have changed and they will change for a while. But I think, you know, 10 years from now, we'll be just back to how we used to be. You know, big things like this have happened in the world before, and they got back to normal. It'll take a while, but at the moment, the digital stage is the stage, and what better place could you be as a professional in AV to present yourself well, crisp, and clear? And I mean, let's really talk about that, because live streaming, presenting yourself online, your voice, you could have the best voice in the world, the best story, the best message, but if you can't be seen and heard clearly on the technical end, then that's really going to work against you. So we're going to move into that now, talking about camera, lighting, microphone setup in this world that has rapidly and dramatically changed in the past few months. And we've gone from physical stages to online stages. Tell us some of the most important things that you think are relevant for cameras, lighting, microphone setup.
You got it. First of all, the most important thing is sound. Even if you can't see me and there may be a little, blurry or whatever, the important thing is, as long as there's sound, you can hear the message. That's the most important thing. Sound has to be on point. So I'm using a Yeti X microphone. There's a USB microphone. You can plug it right into your laptop. You also have the regular Yeti Nano. Another USB microphone. So that's one option out there. It costs about $100. So and the Yeti X, the one I have, is like about $160. That's the price range for that. But again, sound, audio is the most important thing, because if you can't see me for whatever reason, the screen just go black. If I'm sharing a story and it's very impactful, you still have the audio. That's most usually like being on a video conference call. But now, as far as cameras go, you can use a webcam. I don't, if possible, if you can avoid using your laptop camera, if that's something you have, awesome, great, that's great. But if you can invest, if you have money to invest right now, the cheapest thing or the most budgety, the most budget camera is like a webcam, Logitech C920. Yeah. You have the Brio. So look at any of the Logitech cameras. If you want to go a little up, it's more like a few $100s. I currently have the Sony A51. That's okay. It's about $500.
Is that what you're using right now?
Correct. Yes, I am using the Sony A51. So that's like one of those cameras, the DSL cameras.
Right.
Exactly. So, and then after that is the A6100, which is above this one, which is the next one above. The 5100 is great for streaming. And if you want to add the lens to make it even clearer and crisp, they have the Sony Sigma 16 millimeter with 1.4 aperture. The whole aperture, just really quick, that gives you like the blurry background. So if you see some streamers or people going live, they have like the blurry background. That's what it does. The aperture gives it a blurry background, and it makes it more light comes in. So you don't have to use as much light when you have the lenses. As far as lighting goes, I have a 19-inch ring light right in front of me here, and you can get it smaller if you want, or not bigger, but smaller if you want. It's Newer. It's NEWWER. It's a 19-inch, but you also have like the 12-inch, and I got it on Amazon. And right behind me, you have the LED light, like the purple or fuchsia color. I have a small LED light on back of me. It changes colors. I can change it right now if you want. I'm not sure what color we're on now.
Live demo. There you go. Oh, look, that's cool.
Like, every color you can imagine there. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so that's the light. That's like $30. It came like a pack of 2, and I just face it up on the wall, and it changes the color, gives it a little more, look there. So, and that's about it for cameras and equipment.
Yeah, I'm using right now a Logitech Stream Mate.
Okay.
Like the specific sheet. I think it's kind of a level up from the kind of Logitech CM range, but to do the job. But what you're talking about there with the Sony stuff, so is that a digital SLR that you're then plugging into the computer to use for live streaming? Okay.
You need a capture card for that as well. I'm sorry, you need a capture card for that as well. So you put it in here.
Got it. Yeah, 'cause I'll see some people using them, and I think, yeah, that looks. I mean, if you can afford it, right, as well. But that looks
correct.
like
Yes.
the best setup you can have.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the webcams. You know, it's a little more affordable, it's budgety, and you can try that, and that'll do the job. That'll do the job.
And the important thing, me and you both know this, because when we tried to do your show the first time, my connection wasn't good enough, and I had to go to my office to get a better connection. Connection's essential, right? Because you can have the best equipment, again, you can have the best voice, but if your connection's not solid, it's going to work against you. You could be midway through your speech, you can start dropping out, your picture can start pixelating, and when you're in a live format like we are now, that can be pretty difficult to come back from. So I even say to people, you know, it's important, even if you've got a great connection at home, if 2 or 3 other people at home are watching Netflix, it's gonna throttle your bandwidth right down, and you're not going to be able to present very well. So it's important just to, if you're going to go live, I think have that chat with people in the house. Hey, kids, no Netflix. Just give me a 60 minutes here. No Netflix, no gaming,
no Xbox, no PS4. And one important thing: connect your laptop straight to the router instead of doing Wi-Fi. It's faster. So if you're doing Wi-Fi, it's not as reliable, not as faster as plugging your laptop into the router directly. So if you can do that, great.
Yeah, that's the best case scenario, right? Hardwiring to you know, sockets around the house. Some people have sockets around the house, or if not, just straight into your router. If you can, right? I must admit, I actually, here in Australia, it's interesting. The internet is that slow that you can get down a phone line. You're actually better off just having 4 or 5G on your phone, which is what I'm using right now. It's not ideal. If I'm at the office, I hardwire it in. It's better. But yeah, I guess it's about doing what you can with what you have. But yeah, I mean, let's recap. The best setup you can have, right, is an SLR plugged in to your PC, and then a hardwired connection, and then a microphone. Everyone's using the Yetis, right? If you talk to anyone about what microphone to use, it's always the Yeti. And it's a good brand name as well. Good brand names always do well. You're not going to forget a name like Yeti.
Exactly.
So I was going to say recommend the best gear to buy, but we've already covered that. Now, some do's and don'ts on camera. Give us maybe a couple of 3 of each.
Sure. So don'ts. Let me start with the don'ts. Don't set your camera on a table, on a desk when recording or streaming. Please do not. It's like you're looking down at the camera. It's like, no, just set up at eye level. So if you can purchase a tripod if possible, or if you don't have the money, that's okay. Set up books. Do something so you can elevate the camera so it could be at eye level. Right now, the camera I'm looking at right now is at eye level. Now I may be looking a little bit this way because I have an issue with my eyes. I have this thing called double vision where I see 2 of everything. So if I kind of look to the sides because I'm compensating, so I don't see 2 of everything. But keep it at eye level. That way you're looking straight at the camera. That brings me to point number 2. Do not look at the screen, whether it's a laptop, whether it's your phone. Keep your eyes on the camera at all times. Keep your eyes on the camera. Unless you're looking at the comments, you're going live, you want to look at the comments, you can look to the side, look to the comments, or put the comments or your laptop close to your camera so you don't have to look completely away. But please focus on the, pretty much, give it a perfect example. Let's say I'm live streaming, I'm recording, and I decide to look at the screen. This is how it's going to look. Hey guys, what's going on? I want to thank you for joining today. My name is Lewis. There's no connection because I'm not looking at you. So if I'm right now, do you feel like I'm talking to you now because I'm looking at the camera? Do you feel like I'm talking to you? Perfect. If I'm talking down here, I'm just talking. This like if you're face to face with somebody and you're looking at their shirt as you're talking to them, or you're looking at the picture behind them, you have to keep your eyes focused on the camera. I know it's hard. It's not the easiest thing. It takes a lot of getting used to because we're used to when we go on FaceTime, we look at the screen because we're talking to the person. But when you're live streaming, when you're recording, your eyes have to stay focused. So one thing I recommend, practice doesn't make perfect, but it makes improve. You get much better. So practice. If you have to turn off your phone and just pick up your phone and just look at the camera the whole time, hey, what's going on? And just practice looking at the camera with the screen off. The laptop, dim it down or just turn it off and just look at using the camera on your laptop. Just dim the screen and just focus on the camera and just talk to the camera. Talk for a minute, talk for 2 minutes, and just we got to reprogram our minds, on how we do things. We have to focus on the camera. So that's tip number 2. Focus on the camera, not the screen. And Tip number 3, don't try and be like somebody else. Be yourself. Be you. From, perfect example. I can't, if I'm motivating, I'm inspiring people, I can't try and be like Les Brown. As great as he is his own person. He is unique. I can't try and be like, oh, behave. That's not like me. It's not, or thank you. This is a pleasing pleasure to when I can't. That's not me. That's not me. That's Les Brown. He's unique. That's his flow. That's the way he flows. I have to be the way God created me to be. If I'm funny, if I'm outgoing, then be that. If I'm more soft-spoken, be you. Don't try and be like anybody else. People are not looking for imitators. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for an original. They're looking for uniqueness. So be you. Forget about what you think, what people may say about you, or whatever the case may be. You be you. People are looking for that. So be you. Now, be sounds familiar. Be prepared. Be prepared. If you're gonna go live streaming, if you're really good at that, we can just come up with things on top of your head and just talk. Awesome. But if not, just have some bullet points down. Write down what you're going to talk about, what the order. First, I'm going to talk about this. Then I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about this. Have a plan. Have an agenda for your stream, even for your recording too, because you don't want to be like, yeah, so all right, next I'm going to talk about. No, you want to be on point. You want things to flow nice and good. So have bullet points. Have an agenda ready. Practice. You want to get better at your craft? Practice. Michael Jordan just wasn't a player on his own. He got kicked out. He didn't make it to his high school basketball team the first year. But what he did, he hustled. He practiced day and night, and he made it into the basketball team the next year. Okay. And even in college, they were saying that he was like playing mediocre, and he was mediocre. He was average. But he started practicing, and he mastered his craft, and he got better at it. And now he's like a GOAT, the greatest of all time. LeBron James, perfect example. Stephen Curry, who can make threes, from half court without looking, pretty much. They practice. You want to get better at speaking, get in front of a camera, record yourself, see the way you talk. If you're talking too fast, sometimes I do that. I got to practice that more. Talking with your hands too much, moving it too much, whatever it may be, just practice. Whatever it may be. If it's not speaking, if it's anything else, practice your craft so you can master it. And last but not least, when it comes to live streaming, I highly recommend that you do a test call either the day before or at least an hour before the actual call, depending if the person has never used the software before. There could be some audio issues. There could be some camera issues. You never know what can go wrong. If you're going live at 8 o'clock and you're joining for the first time, there may be some issues trying to fix the audio or camera in 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But if you have an hour, that's enough time. Or we practice or test it out the day before. The person that you're interviewing feels comfortable, and knows how to work the system and the software. And if they have any questions, they can ask. And yeah, so those are my 3 do's and don'ts.
Great do's and don'ts, and I can resonate with a lot of them, because the way I have this set up with looking at the screen thing, I know for my first few episodes I really wasn't doing it very well, because you are, and I have to get this right because my right's my left and my left's my right. You are on my right, which appears to be my left as the camera looks at me. So I want to look at you when you're speaking, and that's how humans interact, right? They look at each other's faces. For the purpose of the audience and connecting with the audience, I have to look here because that's where the camera is.
Correct.
So it's a funny one. And then now, because obviously I'm keeping in touch with the comments on the side, I'm wanting to drop your social media handles in so people can connect with you. I want to drop your YouTube channel in. And so I'm having to look at, copy and paste that from the notes into the comments and look for feedback. But yeah, I want to be engaging and I want to talk to you, and I want you to listen to me and feel what I'm saying. I have to look here, which is, again, it's funny because I'm just looking at a small dot at the top of the camera, but I can see you right here, and I'm kind of like that. It's a funny thing. You just, like you say, practice.
Exactly. And when it comes to live streaming, it's okay to be like, all right, let me see my question here, or let me look it over here because you're live streaming. This is live. You have to see the comments and Joshua said, hey, what's going on, guys? Okay, hey, what's going on, Joshua? Then you look at the camera, look at the comments, then look at the camera and talk to them. And that's how it pretty much works. And one last thing, when you're live streaming, if you're like in a TV studio, everything has to be professional, everything has to be good. When you're live streaming, just be you. If something goes wrong, be like, oh wait, hold on, I'm sorry, guys. The microphone is having issues. Let me fix this here. It is what it is. It's live stream. People want to see Be war. That's it.
I have a note. I have a window just here in front of me at the back of the screen, and I have a note on the window. I actually wrote this for the Power Voice Summit when I was speaking there, but I decided to keep it there because it's always relevant, right? It's always relevant whenever you're presenting. Have fun, smile lots, enjoy, be honest, and be yourself. You know, you can't be anyone else at the end of the day. You can try and pretend, but that's not authentic, and people will sense that sooner or later. And you're going to enjoy. When you're authentic, when you're being yourself, when you're being honest and truthful with the audience and the camera and the screen, you're going to have a lot more fun. The audience is going to enjoy it more. It's going to be a lot more organic. But it can take you a little bit of time to. I know it took me a few episodes to one, just speak how I speak. I had this thing where I wanted to speak in kind of a posh, more well-spoken, articulate English accent because I was worried that people wouldn't be able to understand me because of my Birmingham accent, which is quite thick. And if I'm speaking to my mates, it's a lot thicker, right? So yeah, it's about, being clear and articulated and pushing through that nervous part. It's normal. It's normal for everyone to be nervous on camera. It's one of the biggest fears of many people is speaking publicly. But I believe if you just stay cool, calm, collected, maybe have a cup of coffee, cup of tea on the side, whatever your beverage is. Probably not alcohol. keep it cool. Like other simple little things I would say, like have a glass of water handy. There's nothing worse, and particularly if you're speaking for an hour, 90 minutes, you get a bit raspy. You need something to refresh your palate and your throat. The one thing I'd also like to recap on there is what you said is, jump in. I was about to say jump on. Everyone's using that phrase, jump on the call. You're not jumping anywhere, are you? You sat there in the room. But join the the stream. I say minimum on if you're not used to doing it particular 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, even if someone's never used the technology before, you want to get on there, really maybe even have a test call with them and then get on the day that you scheduled 20 minutes, half an hour before, because their internet, their bandwidth could be being used by someone else in the house, and they're not going to know that until they jump in with you. So if you only leave it 5 minutes, they might not have time to run down to the basement and then upstairs to tell the kids to get off the Wi-Fi. You need a bit of time. Yeah, that comes in again to being prepared. So yeah, I hope some people got some value from that. And I know you've been doing a lot in our Power Voice group to help people with your technical end, and there's been a lot of engagement in the feedback you've been giving out in there. So good on you for doing that, because it's a space that's rapidly changed, like I said, in the past few months, and everyone's having to adjust to that. Whether you're a speaker and I was speaking to Ian Harvey yesterday. He's been speaking for over 30 years. Last year he had 170 flights all around the world speaking, and his business just kind of dropped off. Now he thought, oh look, couple of months this is going to be done. I think a lot of people thought that, and that's not how it played out. It became something that's been a lot more long tail, and people have had to evolve. Evolve or become extinct is one thing I like to say, and you've got to evolve with it. You've got to roll with it, and that can be challenging to different people for different reasons. Some people just don't like using the technology, particularly if they're a little bit older. But it's happening. It's the future, and it's here. And if you want to be seen and heard in a space where attention is the new currency, how are you going to get that attention? With content. How are you going to produce the content? You're going to have good audio and visual and a solid connection to be able to present online. So yeah, I hope what we've said there is give the audience. I want to move on here and talk about mindset with you, brother, because I know you're a big believer in mindset, and you're someone who invests time into yourself to develop yours, hone yours, and get you through them times in life, because it is a roller coaster. If you live in, we're all going through something, and we've all been through things, and a strong mindset is what's going to keep you in the game to get you through them times. Now, there's a particular mindset, and it's just something I'd really heard a lot about before. I'd heard it in tracks. Jay-Z's got a track, talks about New York state of mind. I think the original one, I might be wrong here, came from Billy Joel about New York state of mind. And I kind of looked at it before the call, and I thought, what does New York state of mind mean? I know you're from New York originally. And maybe, hey, look, I'll let you tell us, what does New York state of mind mean?
To be honest, I never really. To be
You
honest,
never really heard it.
yeah, I never really. I've heard it, but I never really looked into it. To be honest, so I can think what it means. It's
Yeah,
like the sky's the limit. It's like New York, the lights. Like that's the way. If you want to make it, that's the way you need to make it in New York City, because
you
that's
got
what.
it right. You got it. Because I looked at the definition, right? It's probably just an urban thing, right? Whatever it is, what you perceive it to be. But the definition is creating your own rules, creating your own path, creating your own lane, and you're not having to like conform to the social norms and just sticking with a job that you don't like just because it pays the bills and you don't see any better for yourself. And doing things that just other people around you do because you think, well, I really don't aspire to more. I've got no better idea. So I see that it's interesting that you don't know what it is, but I see that you are someone who has done that and adopted that state of mind. And tell me, like, what mindset do you think what's the essential ingredients to a mindset to be able to turn something that's your passion, something that you love, into your paycheck, your reality?
The mindset is just, I guess, being determined. Like, no matter how long it takes, you're going to make it happen one way or another. You're not going to give up. I've had that desire since I was 25 years old, to work in the AV industry. And I tried and tried and tried. Did it happen? So one day the door just happened. I mean, the door just opened and it just happened, So just being determined, no matter what comes my way, no matter what obstacles happens, no matter how long it takes. Look at Colonel Sanders at KFC. It took him by the age of 60 to open up Kentucky Fried Chicken. And that's how long it took. Thank God for me.
Wow, I didn't know he was 60.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know he was 60. I didn't know he was that old by the time he got it done.
Yeah. So for me, it took me 15 years to accomplish my dreams. Maybe I had, I could have been earlier, but I can't focus on why this person, it took 2 years or 3 years. And for me, it took me 15 years. And maybe another person could take, 20 years. My journey is my journey. My path is my path. And I learned some things along the way. And one thing that really stuck out to me is that, and I want to let everybody know that no matter what job you have right now, you're there for a reason. And every job that I had led me to the next job, I'm going to give you a quick run on how it happened. After high school, I got a job as a sales assistant in a dealership. I didn't like it, I personally, but it's a job. You've right out of high school, why not work? Right? So I did that job. Because I had the sales experience. I didn't have no sales experience. The sales manager was doing everything. I was just like a little guinea pig, and oh yeah, see this car. But because I had the sales experience there, I got a job in the healthcare industry that they needed sales experience. So I was there for 9 years. For the first 5 years, I enjoyed it. I had a company car. I was doing, going to houses, renewing people's insurance. It was an awesome job. 5 years after that, I'm working in hospitals and doctors' offices. And I'm like, why am I here? And again, like I said before, I tried looking for other jobs. I tried doing the AV industry. Nothing was happening. That door was closed. So it was 9 years of me, just 5 good years, and then another 4 years of like, I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. But after those 9 years were up, then that door opened. And when I went to the interview at a bank, they said, look, yes, you have the AV experience, not corporate, but you have AV experience for 15 plus years. But we're looking for somebody who not only has AV experience, but has the customer service experience. And because you have the customer service experience from working at the healthcare industry for 9 years, put that together, you're the perfect person for the job. So don't despise whatever job you have right now. If it's like you're tired of going to it, just know that you're there for a reason and a purpose. And in due time, that door is going to open up. You've been trying to look for jobs for God knows how long, and nobody wants to call you back. Oh, yeah, we'll call you back in a few weeks, and nothing. Just know that you're there for a reason. And when the time is right, that door's going to open up and you're going to your next job. And eventually you end up where you need to be. So that's how it happened. Yeah, that's it, man. It's a great way to look at it. Stepping stones, right? They're all stepping stones. And whatever you're going through, it has a purpose. You might not, like Les Brown says, right? You can't see the picture while you're in the frame. But if you, and I think I'd like to expand on that, but if you know the picture that you're trying to paint, if you know the why of where you want to get to, what you want to do, then the how doesn't matter. You just got to keep progressing, keep moving. And sometimes it might feel like you're going backwards, right? And actually, sometimes it's like that, like you've told in your story there, that you took a couple of steps forward in some places, and then you take a couple of steps back. But as long as, like the macro, the bigger picture is that you're trending in the right direction, just keep going, never, ever give up. Exactly.
Man, I've had a lot of fun with you here, and I think we're possibly going to have the most fun at the end. Something that you did with me on your show was the rapid fire questions at the end, and I've been doing it with people since. And thanks for giving me the hot tip, because it's a lot of fun. And let's fly into some here, right?
Let's see.
Louis Sandoval, do you believe in aliens?
No, I do not.
No, he does not. Affirm that. If you were stuck on a desert island and the desert island is deserted, there's no one else there, there's nothing else really there, what are the 3 things you would need?
3 things you would need. That's a good question. I don't know. What would I need? If it's nothing here, what would I need?
Come to mind.
No, I don't know. You won't need a phone because there's no cell towers, no. So what would I need? I don't know. Food, water. Carry with me food, water, so I can eat and stay alive, and drink so I don't dehydrate, and clothes. I don't know.
What's your favorite place to go on holiday?
Holiday, family's house. Family's
Okay.
house is great. Thanksgiving, Christmas, go to family's house, have a good time.
Yeah, that makes sense. What is your fear, Louis Sandoval? I'm firing that right back at you because I know you asked me.
Well, I'll give you 2 because it's. I don't know if it's a fear, but it's like I always said to myself, I don't want to be at the end of my life and look back. And I always said, I don't know why, be in a rocking chair, rocking back and forth, looking at my, looking back at my life and saying, man, I never really pursued my dreams, and I never pursued my dreams. I never took a risk, and never took a step forward. I don't want to look back and be like, man, I regret not going for that job, or starting my own business, or striving to be a speaker and just stepping out and be a speaker. I don't want to regret that. I want to be at the end of my life and be like, you know what? I tried, even if it failed and it didn't work out, at least I tried, or I gave it a shot and I made it. God, thank you. Perfect example. I know this is a rapid fire question. I'm going a little longer, but I just got to bring this up.
Right way to close it up, man.
Chadwick Boseman, who recently died at the age of 42, 43, at my age. He said this. He was like, I hope that at the end of my life, when I'm on my deathbed before God, I can say, God, I used everything you gave me. Every gift, every talent, I used it all. And I want to be the same way. Like at the end of my life, God, I used it all. Every talent, every gift, every dream that was inside of me, I accomplished it and I did it all. And that's one of my, I guess you could say fear. I don't want to be at the end of my life and be like, man, I didn't do what I wanted to do because I was afraid of what people may think, or I was afraid of failing, or I was afraid of whatever it may be, The second thing, to be honest, I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of death. Even though I'm a believer, but it's like, when you die, it's like you won't see your family more, you won't see, but I don't want to get too depressed and this is rapid fire fun. One of my fears. But yeah, back to the present. I want to accomplish my dreams.
That's awesome, man. I love that. And yeah, thanks for being honest and transparent there. But I think that's a great way to wrap things up, And there's that first fear there of you feeling like that when you get to your later years in life. It's just not going to happen for you, bro, because you're already working towards them dreams and goals. And look, this next chapter is coming for you as a speaker, and I can't wait to see that unfold and develop for you. Now, where can people find you, Louis, if they want to know more about you?
Sure. So Motivation Lou on Instagram, motivation_Lou, L-U, and on YouTube, Motivation Lou. So Motivation LU. And right after this, after we're done here, I'm going to post the interview that I had with Jake. So make sure you check it out. Right after this, I'm going to go and post it, and you guys can check it out. It was an awesome interview. So check it out. Subscribe, like, give me a comment.
All the good things, good things. And I've dropped those links both in the comments for everyone, so you can get them whether you're watching now, live, or later. Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you for having me. It was an honor. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
See you, everyone.